You must have seen something on board. Gary Gerould?
Jacques Villeneuve has made the long walk back from turn 3. I'm assuming it related to the gearbox, Jack.
Oh, it was the drive shaft or something. Yeah, something in between the engine and the wheel just broke, and we had no more drive.
Was it an instant break, or did you have any warning at all? You had to struggle?
No, it just broke on the restart out of the hairpin.
This is an awful tough way to celebrate a birthday.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Happy birthday, Jack. You called that one, though, Bobby.
With Herta and Vassar both out of the race, that means that that new Series Ford engine is not getting any test miles today. That's probably a setback for that program.
It is, Sam, because that's exactly what they want to do. They don't want to put everybody that's running Fords into the new ones. They just want to develop the engines, and they were running so good. They have such good power bands in them. The guys really like the engines, and I think they're going to come out to be a nice engine for the entire year.
By contrast, what we see here is a Mercedes-Benz engine in the Penske car leading a Ford engine in the Newman Haas car.
Yeah, but let's think about that now as we continue to watch that battle at the front of the field between Al Unser Jr. and Michael Andretti. There's little Al. What does that do for us? We know Herta went off into the barrier, but we're not quite sure, and I think it's probably pretty important to find out what happened to Jimmy Vassar, because if it's engine related, does that predict the future?
Well, doesn't have to be that at all. A lot of the guys are having tire problems or flat tires. Sometimes that could be what gets them in. When we see a car go almost straight into the wall like we did, there's a reason for it. The drivers just
I'm talking about Jimmy, who just pulled off.
Well,
we have no idea what his problem
was. No, but I don't think it was tires' fault. I think it was probably, most likely, a transmission. Look at Michael gaining a little Al right through here.
Battle at the front of the field begins to warm up. Michael Andretti doing everything he can to chase him down.
It was a victory at Long Beach here that launched Al's championship initiative last year. It was his first win of the year, and the same thing was true back in 1990 when he won the championship. So don't think for a minute that because Al Unser has not had a good start to the season that he is not a contender for the championship.
Little Al comes off of that hairpin so strong, but Michael catches him at the end. Let's go pit side and Jack.
Well, Paul, let's end the speculation on the condition of Jimmy Vassar and why he pulled off. A fuel alarm went off in the cockpit of the car, and he shut the engine down. So that's the problem. Now, let me update you on when the next series of pit stops should occur. Should come in, as we told you, Fittipaldi dead on the mark at lap 60. Now it's been moved to lap 61 to 63 for the front runners.
We're watching those front runners. Al Unser Jr., then Michael Andretti. Third place is Bobby Rahal, then Christian Fittipaldi, then Emerson, and Eddie Cheever runs in 6th place.
You know, I just did a little checking on little Al. He's not slowing down. Michael is speeding up. I just used my stopwatch, Paul. So Michael's putting the pressure on him, and he's really, really doing it. Now look at little Al. He's trying to speed up. Michael's already on the prowl, trying to give him a pass there.
At 6th place car, Eddie Cheever started 18th in this field. Now running 6th. We continue to watch the lead.
In many ways, of course, these are the two great young drivers in the business. Both of them Americans, both from great racing families. And it's rare that we see them race wheel to wheel as they are now. This is classic stuff.
I just like listening to the motors here. Let's just do that.
See some fire come out occasionally. That's when he's shifting.
Up and inside, Hiro Matsushita, who wisely gets out of the way. So we take a look at the top of the order with Al Unser Jr. out in front. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC station. Back approaching the halfway point in the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. You ride with one of the young guns that we talked about at the start of the show. He is, of course, Robbie Gordon, but he's back in 7th place, the winner of the last race. He has some distance to make up. In fact, of all of those, Paul Tracy is out of the race. Jacques Villeneuve is out of the race. This is the only one of the 3 we mentioned at starting who is still there. And the guy who said, "I'm the king of the beach," Al Unser Jr. runs at the front of the field. Now, we had a yellow flag on the start because of the poor alignment. And then after we got going, it was Paul Tracy and Michael Andretti, as we're watching Michael now, who battled it out. And then Tracy got together with Gilles de Ferran and took both of them out and brought out a full course yellow. Now, the leaders of the race came in at that point. Some cars stayed out, most notably that of Teo Fabi and Scott Pruitt. As we continue to watch this hot battle, Michael Andretti, let's watch him because he's tucked in there. Let's see where he's going. Will he come out of the corner ahead? Michael locks the brakes going into the corner. Allinger Jr. takes the corner, and a very costly mistake for Michael.
Boy, that was, you know, that I just can't understand Michael doing that. It's not like him to do that. He really had Little Al past, the third car being involved there. There's Dean Hall on the left. There's Michael on the outside. Locks up the rear brakes. In order to keep him spinning, he drove it straight in. But he really had his brake balance pretty good because he started locking up all four of them, Paul.
Well, Michael back under power now, but boy, he lost with that one.
He didn't have to go that deep. He just undersold. He knows Little Al drives awfully deep, like Sam said a little while ago. And I think he just overdid it just a bit on account of that.
Brought back to 6th place during that.
Traditionally, the leader at halfway here at Long Beach has gone on to win 9 of 11 races. And, of course, that leader is this man right here, and he's looking good right now.
I could have foreseen Michael trying to pass Little Al right there in the #1 car, probably within 2 or 3 laps. I kept nudging you, Paul, because I could just tell the way he was prowling Little Al that he was going to try it past. Unfortunately, it didn't work for him.
Don't be nudging. Speak right up.
But now you notice where Bobby Rahal suddenly is lurking behind Little Al. Little Al lost a little time in that too, so this is a clear battle for the lead once again.
Well, and what it does is we look at the race summaries, it brings Christian Fittipaldi up, but Emerson got around Christian for 3rd place as that was happening with Michael. So Christian sits in 4th place, and Eddie Cheever is now in 5th place.
And don't forget, this doesn't put Michael out. Michael is back in. Michael will be running good. There's still a pit stop to come, so this is not the end of the race by far, but it's got to make Little Al a lot more comfortable, not look back here and see Michael.
Now, of course, we have the situation we had in Australia a few weeks ago. Rahal stalking a younger man, and of course, Rahal now leading in the provisional championship standings. He's been second 4 times here, remember. Rahal has never won, so you're looking at very characteristic positions.
2 different chassis, a Penske in front, a Lola in second, but identical Mercedes-Benz power plants.
Yes, they are. You know, I think Little Al right now is having some sort of a handling problem or some sort of a problem because he's actually been slowing down a little bit. I don't think Rahal's going any faster. Let's watch it.
Keeping an eye on Rahal. While we do, let's check with Jack.
Well, Paul, let's update you on the pit strategies for 1st and 2nd. For Bobby Rahal, Carl Hogan and the crew have determined that they're going to run the window for this pit stop as far as they possibly can, hopefully to lap 65. They say if they can get to 65, they can go the distance with no concern about fuel. On the other hand, the problem is with Team Penske is now that Al Jr. is out there, they're trying as best they can to conserve some fuel. They want to come in around lap 6.3. I asked Richard Buck if they would then be able to go the distance. He says, yes, I can. I think.
That might be telling. All of the top 6 stopped 40 laps ago. So this will be a real interesting tell on comparing these engines and how they're set up and how far they can go.
You know, a lot of these mechanics are afraid to tell us, the TV people, what they're really doing on their fuel mileage because most of the teams have a television set right in their pits there. So they find out what's going on via ABC.
Well, then some of them are like you, and they just lie to Jack all the time anyway, don't
That
they?
could be.
No, actually, I'll tell you what. It amazes me, especially Richard Buck, who we just mentioned, what a good relationship is there. They really give out some great information, stuff you might think should be secret to both Jack and Gary.
Rahal's really having a good race working on Little Al. Little Al is definitely off of his feet. For example, he's been turning 53.5 second laps, roughly. He's turning 56 now, Paul. So he's definitely cutting back either on the fuel or he's got a little problem. I don't know which one.
Little Al just completed the 59th lap, 105 laps of scheduled distance, 166.95 miles the total distance.
Rahal qualified 6th, Little Al 4th.
That's Marco Greco sitting just in front of the leaders. New sponsor from him from Brazil, manufacturer of appliances. Let's go to pit side once again and Jack.
Well, a new face won't be in victory lane of Robbie Gordon after Phoenix. What happened here, Robbie?
The motor let go for some reason. I don't know why. It was overheating, and we were trying to stay in clean air, and it just overheated. We were trying to get some points.
A tough one for you. Over 480 of your fans and your local hometown friends are here in the grandstands. I didn't know you were going to need 500 tickets.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. We wish we could have done a better job with the Battling car this weekend and gathered some points, but the street circuits have been real tough to us. Can't wait to go to 3 ovals.
Well, there you have it, Paul, and Indy's coming up.
So all 3 of the Brat Pack are out. Al Unser Jr. is leading.
Robbie mentions street circuits as he chatted with Jack there. Remember that this is the very first one back in 1975, the first running here at Long Beach, and it really invented this form of racing in America through the streets. Now, of course, we have races at Vancouver and Detroit and Miami and Surfers Paradise in Australia, Cleveland, but this was the first here, and it was so well done, and it meant so much to the economy of the city that it's been widely duplicated.
Now, people often wonder, Sam and Paul, what do they do to get better fuel mileage when they have to? Well, for often, like on a road course, they'll just shift early. Instead of like going to, say, 13,500 or 13,800, they'll start shifting at 13,000 or as low as sometimes even 12,500. Another thing they can do is they have dials in the car. They can dial them down. They tell them via the radio to lean it down, and they give it to them by steps. So I have a hunch this is probably what they've been telling little Al to do.
Bobby Rahal sitting there right behind him. 3rd place, Emerson, then Christian Fittipaldi, then Eddie Cheever, then Michael Andretti. 14 cars are all running on the leader lap right now, Jack Arute.
Well, Paul, let me update you, too, as Al Unser Jr. gets ready to come on to pit road. He needs it badly. Because of the situation when he was in that hot contest with Michael Andretti, the team feels that he may have abused his tires and used up the right rear. So not only trying to conserve a little fuel, but running out of tires has dropped little Al off the pace just a bit. But they are on pace, according to them, for their fuel stop, their fuel window, change the tires, and then, as I said before, they'll go the distance.
As little Al flashes across the line, 45 laps since his last stop.
Let's also keep in mind when they talk about the right rear tire, that is the tire that he rubbed the wall with earlier.
Rahal, however, at this point is unable to keep any real pressure on. He's shadowing him. There's no reason for Rahal to risk a big pass right now with the stops coming up. He's playing a tactical game.
That's Bobby's style, Mr. Consistency all the way.
That's right. You rarely see him make a mistake.
He's for sure one of the smarter race drivers I've seen in an awful long time.
But then again, I mean, that's what makes this such a great matchup. Because little Al is the dominant force on this track, and you rarely see him make a mistake of any kind here. Remember that little Al was mired in a battle for last place in qualifying on Friday afternoon. He has never come from so far back on the grid to so far up in a race in his entire career.
Remember that, though, Sam. It wasn't quite that way because he had a valve spring broken in the engine, so he lost his time on the track from the engine.
Oh, I know.
But, Bobby, it sounded so good. Why'd you tell us that?
I don't know. It sounded too good. I had to.
Christian Fittipaldi is into the pits. It's been 45 laps since his last stop. This might give us an indication of where everything else goes. Driving for Derek Walker.
And what they're squirting...
And look at the crew. Oh, they like that one.
And I thought the football season was over.
what they're doing, they're squirting water on it. Water and alcohol mix really good, prevents the fire from happening. Just to the people that don't know what they squirt on the car when they leave. It's not more fuel for sure.
Well, and I think
Here it comes.
Here comes the leader in, Al Unser Jr. Right into the Penske pits. Here's Jack.
Well, believe it or not, Bobby Unser is wrong for a change. The rear tire that he slapped the wall came off on the last stop. These tires go on, and what he needs is a fresh new right rear. Young Al Unser Jr. has got it. The car has been kicked back into gear, taking on all the fuel they can. He's off and away in 14 seconds.
And Bobby's on his way down to the pits to see you, Jack.
Now, I have an answer for it, which you know that I would.
Oh, I don't want to hear it.
It's the right rear corner, Jack. I didn't really mean the same tire. It's the right rear corner. And on this track, the right rear is not the one that wears out first. It's the left rear that wears out first.
Here's what matters. Bobby Rahal stayed out, and so he assumes the lead of the race. You're on board with the leader. Emerson Fittipaldi up to second. Michael Andretti up to third. Al Unser Jr. came out in fourth place at the conclusion of his stop, and Teo Bobby now runs in fifth. And here comes Bobby Rahal to roll into the pits, Gary.
4 times he's been second in this event. He loves the way the car's working. Carl Hogan said, we make no changes. It's routine service for Rahal. Looking for a victory here. He wants to get to the head of the championship points. He's at 11, 12, 13 seconds, trying to get every bit of fuel. Here he goes, 15 points.